Ever wonder why some gardeners always have fresh fruit while you're stuck buying expensive produce at the store? The secret isn't having more space or a green thumb. It's choosing fruit trees that produce so abundantly they'll feed you 12 months a year. After growing fruit for over 30 years, I've discovered which trees give you the most bang for your buck and keep producing when others have long stopped. Today I'm sharing the 10 most productive fruit trees that'll have you eating homegrown fruit every single day of the year. Wait till you see number 6 that produces so much fruit you'll be giving it away to the entire neighborhood. Plus, I've got a storage trick at the end that'll keep your harvest fresh for 3 times longer than you thought possible. The first tree every gardener needs for year-round fruit is the apple tree. These incredible producers thrive in zones 4 through 8, which covers most of the United States. And once established, a single mature apple tree can produce between 150 to 300 pounds of fruit every year. That's enough apples to eat fresh, make into sauce, bake into pies, and still have plenty left over for storage. For the best results, I recommend planting varieties like Honeycrisp if you want that perfect sweet crunch that stores for up to 7 months in a cool basement or root cellar. Fuji apples are another powerhouse variety that'll keep producing heavy crops year after year, and they actually get sweeter in storage, reaching peak flavor about 2 months after harvest. If you're looking for the ultimate keeping apple, Granny Smith is your answer, as these tart beauties can last up to a full year when stored properly. What makes apple trees so perfect for year-round eating is their staggered ripening schedule. Plant an early variety like Gala alongside a late variety like Arkansas Black, and you'll be harvesting fresh apples from July clear through November. The trees themselves are incredibly forgiving too. They'll produce in partial shade, though full sun gives the best yields, and once they're established after about 3 years, they're practically drought tolerant. The real magic happens when you understand that apple trees grown from quality rootstock will start producing fruit in just 3 to 4 years, unlike those grown from seed, which can take 8 to 10 years. A dwarf variety on M9 rootstock will give you full-sized fruit on a tree that stays under 10 feet tall, perfect for smaller yards or even large containers. These compact trees still produce 50 to 100 pounds of fruit annually, proving you don't need an orchard to have apples all year long. The second powerhouse fruit tree for continuous harvests is the fig tree. These Mediterranean natives adapt beautifully to zones 7 through 10 and produce 2 distinct crops each year, giving you fresh figs from early summer through the first frost. A single mature fig tree can yield 40 to 60 pounds of fruit annually, and unlike most fruit trees, figs start producing their very first year after planting. Brown turkey figs are my go-to recommendation for beginners because they're cold hardy enough to survive Zone 6 with winter protection and produce sweet, jammy fruit that's perfect fresh or preserved. Celeste figs, often called sugar figs in the South, ripen earlier and produce intensely sweet fruit that's absolutely addictive when eaten sun-warmed right off the tree. For warmer climates, Black Mission figs offer the longest harvest window and produce those gorgeous purple figs you see at fancy grocery stores for $12 a pound. What most people don't realize about fig trees is they're one of the easiest fruit trees to grow organically. They rarely need spraying for pests or diseases, and the trees actually produce better when they're slightly stressed, meaning less watering and fertilizing for you. The fruit itself is incredibly versatile for year-round eating. Fresh figs only last about a week in the refrigerator, but when you dehydrate them, they'll keep for an entire year and taste like nature's candy. Growing figs in containers opens up possibilities even for northern gardeners. A fig tree in a 20-gallon pot can produce 30 to 40 pounds of fruit and be wheeled into an unheated garage for winter protection. The trees naturally stay smaller in containers, but still fruit heavily, and container growing actually encourages earlier ripening. During peak season in late summer, you'll be harvesting figs every other day, and a single tree provides enough fruit to eat fresh all summer, dry several pounds for winter snacking, and make dozens of jars of fig preserves that capture sunshine in a jar. The third essential tree for year-round fruit production is the peach tree, and these beauties thrive in zones 5 through 9 while producing some of the most anticipated fruit of summer. A healthy peach tree will gift you with 50 to 150 pounds of fruit each year, and with the right varieties, you can extend fresh peach season from May through September. Alberta peaches remain the gold standard for productivity and versatility, producing huge yellow freestone peaches that are perfect for eating fresh, canning, or freezing. Red Haven is another champion producer that ripens 3 weeks earlier than Alberta, giving you an extended harvest season when you plant both. For colder climates, Reliance peaches can handle temperatures down to negative 25 degrees Fahrenheit and still produce bushels of sweet, juicy fruit. The beauty of peach trees lies in their predictable production and ease of preservation. Once a tree hits its stride around year 4, you can count on consistent harvests every single year. Fresh peaches might only last a week or two, but when you slice and freeze them on cookie sheets before storing in bags, you'll have perfect peach slices for smoothies, cobblers, and pies all winter long. Canned peaches retain their sunshine flavor for up to 2 years, and a single productive tree gives you enough fruit to can 40 to 50 quarts. Peach trees respond incredibly well to proper pruning, and keeping them at 8 to 10 feet tall through summer pruning makes harvesting easy while actually increasing fruit production. They're self-fertile, meaning you only need one tree to get fruit, though planting multiple varieties extends your harvest window dramatically. The trees bloom early and put on one of spring's most spectacular flower shows, with pink blossoms covering every branch before the leaves emerge, making them as ornamental as they are productive. Now, if you're finding this video helpful so far, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps us reach more gardeners like yourself, who would also find it so helpful to avoid these mistakes. All right, let's keep going. The fourth fruit tree that'll keep your family fed year-round is the plum tree, thriving in zones 4 through 9 and producing anywhere from 50 to 100 pounds of fruit annually. These underappreciated trees are absolute workhorses in the home orchard, and many varieties are self-fertile, meaning you get full crops from just one tree. Santa Rosa plums are my top pick for most gardeners because they're self-fertile, incredibly productive, and the fruit has that perfect balance of sweet and tart that makes them ideal for fresh eating or preserving. Methley plums ripen earlier and produce sweet, juicy fruit with reddish-purple flesh that looks stunning in jams and preserves. For those wanting a traditional European plum for drying into prunes, Stanley plums are unbeatable, producing heavy crops of freestone fruit that dries beautifully and keeps for over a year. What sets plum trees apart is their adaptability and relatively carefree nature. They bloom later than peaches, avoiding most late spring frosts, yet the fruit ripens in midsummer when you're craving fresh fruit the most. A single plum tree in full production provides enough fruit to eat fresh all summer, make dozens of jars of jam, and dry pounds of prunes that'll last until next year's harvest. The dried plums are nutritional powerhouses that keep their flavor and nutrients for 12 to 18 months when stored properly. Plum trees are also incredibly space efficient. They naturally stay smaller than apple or pear trees, typically topping out at 15 to 20 feet. But you can keep them even smaller with summer pruning. The trees begin producing in just 3 to 4 years from planting, and they're remarkably pest-resistant compared to other stone fruits. Japanese varieties like Santa Rosa tend to produce more fruit than European types, but European plums like Italian and Stanley have higher sugar content, making them perfect for drying and preserving for year-round enjoyment. Next up at number 5 is the pear tree, and these reliable producers thrive in zones 4 through 8 while offering something most fruit trees can't: incredible storage life. A mature pear tree produces 75 to 200 pounds of fruit yearly, and properly stored pears will keep you eating fresh fruit from September clear through March. Bartlett pears are the classic choice, producing abundantly and ripening to perfection when picked green and allowed to ripen indoors. Anjou pears are storage champions that actually improve in flavor after a few months in cold storage, developing a butterscotch sweetness you won't find in store-bought fruit. For southern gardeners or those dealing with fire blight, Kiefer pears are virtually indestructible and produce massive crops of fruit that's perfect for canning and preserving. The secret to year-round pears is understanding that they ripen from the inside out and actually taste better when picked mature, but still hard, than ripened at room temperature. This unique characteristic means you can harvest your entire crop at once, store them in a cool basement or refrigerator, and bring out a few at a time to ripen on the counter. Winter pears like Bosc and Camas can store for 4 to 6 months, giving you fresh fruit deep into winter when nothing else is growing. Pear trees are among the longest-lived fruit trees you can plant, with many producing for over 100 years. They're also one of the most cold-hardy fruit trees available, with some varieties surviving temperatures down to -30 degrees. Once established, pear trees are drought-tolerant and require less pruning than apples or stone fruits. A single tree planted today could feed your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, making them a true investment in your family's food security. Coming in at number 6 is a tree that most gardeners overlook, the persimmon tree. These late-season champions grow in zones 6 through 10 and produce fruit when every other tree has gone dormant, extending your fresh fruit season well into December. A mature persimmon tree yields 60 to 100 pounds of fruit that hangs on the tree, like orange ornaments long after the leaves have fallen. Fuyu persimmons are the variety I recommend most because you can eat them while they're still firm, like an apple, and they have an incredible honey-sweet flavor with hints of cinnamon and brown sugar. Hachia persimmons need to be completely soft before eating, but reward your patience with a flavor like pumpkin pie filling that's absolutely divine. American persimmons are native to much of the eastern United States and incredibly cold-hardy, surviving in Zone 5 and producing smaller but intensely flavored fruit. Persimmon trees are practically maintenance-free once established, requiring no spraying for pests or diseases and minimal pruning. The fruit has an extraordinary shelf life, with Fuyu persimmons lasting 2 to 3 months in cold storage and Hachia persimmons freezing beautifully for up to a year. When you freeze fully ripe Hachias, you can eat them like sherbet straight from the freezer, giving you a healthy dessert option all year long. These trees are also incredibly drought-tolerant once established and actually produce better fruit when slightly water-stressed. The wood is exceptionally strong and the trees rarely suffer storm damage. Persimmons are one of the few fruit trees that produce well in partial shade, making them perfect for spots where other fruit trees might struggle. The trees are beautiful ornamentals, too, with glossy green leaves that turn brilliant orange and red in fall, followed by the decorative fruit that persists through winter. Number 7 on our list is the cherry tree, and these spring bloomers produce in zones 5 through 9, giving you anywhere from 30 to 50 pounds of fruit from a standard tree or 15 to 20 pounds from a dwarf variety. While cherry season might seem short, with the right varieties and preservation methods, you can enjoy cherries year-round. Bing cherries are the classic sweet cherry that everyone loves, producing large, dark red fruit that's perfect for fresh eating and freezing. Rainier cherries offer something special with their yellow and red fruit that tastes like cherry candy and commands premium prices at farmers markets. For those wanting a self-fertile option, Stella cherries are the answer, producing abundant crops of sweet fruit without needing a pollinator tree nearby. Sweet cherries might only be fresh for a few weeks, but when you pit and freeze them, they maintain their flavor and nutrition for a full year. Dried cherries are even better keepers, lasting 18 months and adding incredible flavor to everything from oatmeal to salads. A single productive cherry tree gives you enough fruit to freeze 20 pounds for smoothies and baking, dry 10 pounds for snacking, and still have plenty to eat fresh during the harvest season. Cherry trees are surprisingly easy to grow when you choose the right variety for your climate. They need well-draining soil and full sun, but are otherwise undemanding. Dwarf cherries on Gisela rootstock stay under 12 feet tall and start producing in just 3 years. The trees bloom early and put on one of nature's most spectacular shows, with clouds of white or pink flowers that make them worthy of planting for their beauty alone. Net them during harvest to protect from birds, and you'll have more cherries than you know what to do with. The 8th tree on our list is the incredible mulberry tree, and this one's a game changer for zones 5 through 10. These trees are absolute production machines, with a mature tree yielding up to 200 pounds of fruit over an extended 6 to 8 week harvest period. That's not a typo, 200 pounds from a single tree, which is why you'll be sharing with neighbors, friends, and probably every bird in the neighborhood too. Illinois. Ever-bearing mulberries are perfect for most climates, producing sweet blackberry-like fruit continuously from June through August. Pakistan mulberries, also called king mulberries, produce fruit that's 3 to 5 inches long and tastes like raspberry jam, though they're only hardy to zone 7. Black Beauty mulberries offer the best of both worlds with good cold hardiness and extra large, extra sweet fruit that kids absolutely devour. Mulberry trees grow faster than almost any other fruit tree, often producing fruit in their second year and reaching full production by year 5. They're virtually pest and disease-free, drought-tolerant once established, and will grow in almost any soil type. The fruit doesn't ship or store well fresh, which is why you never see mulberries in stores. But when you dry them, they become nature's raisins and keep for over a year. Frozen mulberries maintain their flavor perfectly and work wonderfully in smoothies, pies, and jams. These trees are so productive and easy to grow that many gardeners consider them almost too successful. They'll grow in places where other fruit trees fail, including heavy clay soil and partial shade. The trees can get large, up to 30 feet, but respond well to pruning and can be kept much smaller. Some gardeners lay sheets under the tree and shake the branches for an instant harvest. With one mulberry tree, you'll have fresh fruit for 2 months, frozen berries all winter, and enough dried mulberries to replace raisins in all your baking. Coming in at number 9 is the pomegranate tree, a fruit that thrives in zones 7 through 10 and produces 30 to 50 pounds of jewel-like fruit that stores better than almost any other fresh fruit. These ancient trees are making a comeback in American gardens, and once you taste a homegrown pomegranate, you'll understand why they've been prized for thousands of years. Wonderful pomegranates are the variety you'll want for reliable production and excellent storage, producing large red fruit packed with sweet tart arils that burst with flavor. Ever-sweet pomegranates live up to their name with less acidity and virtually no hard seeds, making them perfect for fresh eating. Angel red pomegranates ripen a full month earlier than wonderful, extending your pomegranate season and producing soft-seeded fruit that's incredibly juicy. What makes pomegranates exceptional for year-round eating is their phenomenal storage capability. Whole pomegranates stored in the refrigerator will keep for up to 3 months, and some varieties, like Wonderful, can last up to 6 months in cold storage. The arils freeze beautifully for a full year, and you can juice pomegranates and freeze the juice in ice cube trays for adding to smoothies, marinades, and salad dressings all year long. Pomegranate trees are incredibly drought-tolerant once established, and actually produce better fruit with minimal watering once they start bearing. They're naturally resistant to most pests and diseases, and the trees are beautiful ornamentals with bright orange flowers in spring and golden yellow fall foliage. The trees stay relatively small, usually under 15 feet, making them perfect for smaller yards. They begin producing fruit in 3 to 4 years and can remain productive for over 200 years. In marginal climates, pomegranates can be grown in large containers and protected in winter, still producing 20 to 30 pounds of fruit annually. Rounding out our top 10 at number 10 is the apricot tree, an early season producer for zones 5 through 9 that yields 40 to 80 pounds of golden fruit perfect for year-round preservation. These trees produce some of the earliest stone fruit of the season, often ripening in June before peaches and plums, filling that gap when you're craving fresh fruit after a long winter. Moore Park apricots are the gold standard for flavor, producing large orange fruit with an incredible sweet-tart balance that's perfect fresh or preserved. Gold-caught apricots are more cold-hardy and disease-resistant, making them ideal for challenging climates while still producing abundantly. Tilton apricots are the variety of choice for drying, with high sugar content and firm flesh that dries into the most delicious preserved fruit you've ever tasted. Apricot trees are unique because the fruit develops its full sugar content on the tree, unlike some fruits that continue ripening after harvest. This means when you pick a ripe apricot, you're getting maximum flavor that can be captured through canning, drying, or freezing. Dried apricots keep for up to 2 years and contain concentrated nutrients that make them perfect winter snacks. A single productive apricot tree provides enough fruit to can 20 quarts, dry 15 pounds, and freeze another 20 pounds for year-round enjoyment. The trees themselves are absolutely gorgeous in spring, blooming with pink and white flowers before most other trees wake up. They're self-fertile, so one tree is all you need, and they begin producing in 3 to 4 years. Apricots are more cold-hardy than most people realize, with some varieties surviving temperatures down to -20 degrees. The key to success with apricots is choosing disease-resistant varieties and providing good air circulation. Once established, these trees are relatively carefree and will produce for 30 to 40 years, making them an excellent long-term investment in your food security. And now for that bonus storage tip I mentioned that'll revolutionize how long your fruit lasts. The secret professionals use but rarely share is creating what's called a modified atmosphere storage system right in your spare refrigerator or cool basement. Take clean cardboard boxes, line them with newspaper, and add a fresh apple or two to each box along with your other stored fruit. The apples naturally release ethylene gas, which, in this controlled environment, actually slows deterioration of other fruits instead of speeding, ripening like it would in open air. Punch just 2 or 3 small air holes in the box, close it up, and store at 33 to 35 degrees. This simple technique can double, or even triple, the storage life of pears, apples, and Asian pears, keeping them crisp and fresh for 6 to 8 months instead of the usual 2 to 3. Commercial operations spend thousands on controlled atmosphere storage, but you can achieve similar results with just cardboard boxes, newspaper, and strategic apple placement. Thanks for sticking with me through the entire video. If you found this helpful, give it a like, subscribe for more gardening tips, and check out our other videos on growing a better garden.